Coming up with the most eye-catching, innovative playthings may be only half the battle for the toy industry these days. Ensuring that the products comply with a vast array of safety regulations is a whole other ballgame. A key focus at this year's Hong Kong Toys Industry Conference was to help companies prepare for new EU toy safety directives due to take effect in July.
The main changes in the new directive will be the chemical requirements, because there are a number of new heavy elements that will be regulated. For some of them, there will be significantly lower limit values from what we know today.
Mr. Trillingsgaard, who's also with the Danish toy company Lego, says another major component of the directive, the general ban on CMR or cancer-causing substances, poses a major challenge for the industry.
There will be no guidance as to how to manage that ban. And that's a big change for the industry because we are used to very precise guidance. So essentially, we as manufacturers will have to figure out how do we avoid those chemicals in our products.
When we look, let's say, 10 years back, what was a safe toy? We look now, what is a safe toy? And that what we heard, what's coming up. So it will change. For sure, it had an influence on the testing industry because they have to adapt to the new legislation. And the trend is, in general, if it's more and more chemicals get identified to be toxic.
Dr. Bonhoff says the role of the testing and certification industry has become key, with new regulations focusing on third-party testing.
The legislation primarily doesn't tell you how you have to analyze it in the lab. So that's something the testing institutes have really to be aware of and go on and do research by themselves, how to develop their methods.
Regulatory authorities say a drop in the number of recalls since the introduction of stricter rules, such as those in the United States, are partly due to the success of third-party testing.
The number of recalls have been reduced for several reasons. We have an increased enforcement as well as the industry is policing itself through testing.
More than 2 years since the implementation of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act, the stay of enforcement for lead testing last year is due to expire in February. Ms. Tenenbaum says the U.S. watchdog body continues to look at ways to make compliance less onerous.
What we decided is that you don't have to test the entire product if you can buy component parts that are certified to meet our standards. For example, if you make children's clothing and you buy buttons, if the button manufacturer certifies that the buttons are lead-free, then you don't have to do your own testing. You can buy buttons that are lead-free. And we wanted the component part industry to develop so that we would reduce the amount of testing required for importers as well as domestic manufacturers.
But with varying regulations around the world, not least from the major markets, the call from the industry is for eventual alignment of differing rules.
Lego sell our products in more than 130 countries and it's a huge task to make sure that we comply with regulation in so many different parts of the world. It's a huge challenge because the target is constantly moving. It's a moving target and I think it's something that we in the toy industry will have to face.
That's why European, US and Hong Kong toy groups are banding together to prepare for the unexpected.
The only plan we can make is to prepare for uncertainty. What we have learned over the past couple of years is that if we join forces, we can make a difference. Because individual companies or individual manufacturers, and our negotiation power towards a large supplier may be limited. But if all of us stand together and say, this is what we want to have, we probably have a better chance of success.